Another NBA season is here, which means I finally get to do a basketball video that's not a worst of or a history video, also a cheap plug for all three of those videos. Nike has had the NBA license since the 2017-2018 season, taking over from Adidas, who previously held the license. That season also coincided with ads being on the jerseys. However, Adidas moving the NBA logo from the front of the jersey to the back in 2015 meant that the league was already setting up to plaster ads on jerseys anyways. At least you can go into a physical or online store and buy a jersey without ads, though ones sold at the arenas have ads on them. Personally, if the ad has to stay, then I would have preferred keeping the NBA logo on the front above the Nike logo on one side with the ad on the other. If I can be completely honest, I'd rather have no ads because I'm like that, but I don't get a say in these decisions. Plus, it could always be worse. I guess buy Fanatics jerseys if you don't want ads, period. Most jerseys I've seen people buy online in the flesh with an ad on them have been fake. You can easily tell because the Nike logo is supposed to be heat sealed and not stitched. But we're not here to talk about fake jerseys, we're here to talk about the real deal. On a side note, the NBA's first in-season tournament not only debuts this year's city jerseys, but also features alternate courts that scream royalties to Boise State. Yeah, I know there have been city jerseys in the past that had an alternate court to go with it, and even some this year, but this is more extreme with fully painted courts and no bare wood. These alternate courts would be neat except for the part where you quickly realize they took the cookie cutter approach and made all the courts the same except for the colors. These are only for the tournament, so at least it's only here for a limited time. Anyways, for our categories, we've got needs a redesign for all the crappy designs where the team seriously needs to go back to the drawing board, meh for designs that I just don't care about, good redesign for all the redesigns since 2010 that I like, decent for designs that I like but aren't old school enough to be considered classic but also came before 2010, and classic for all the looks that have stood the test of time and are 20 years old at minimum. One quirk is that unlike other leagues that have home, road, and alternate uniforms, the NBA has association, icon, and statement uniforms, a naming system put in place at the start of the Nike era. It's goofy, but it has opened the door for teams to not necessarily wear white at home like before 2017, making MLB the only one of the 4 North American leagues where white is still called the home jersey. And hey, unlike MLB, every team participates in the city jersey program. They also used to have earned edition jerseys for all of the teams that made the playoffs the previous season, with 2021 being the last year of that jersey program. That deserves its own Players Weekend style video. So with all of that out of the way, here is every 2023 to 2024 NBA uniform ranked. Chicago Bulls. Aside from having the only logo in the league that's never changed once, the Bulls have always been consistent with their jerseys. This current style first debuted in the 85-86 season, and even if it wasn't made especially famous by the likes of Michael Jordan, it's still phenomenal all around. Their white association is as clean as it's ever been, though everyone and their mother always springs for the red icon, and I don't blame them, myself included. This is a beautiful jersey, and it seems like everyone on the planet owns at least one. Their black statement jersey is especially stunning. The Bulls have had various black jerseys over the years. Some had the team name, while others had the city, as well as being just black or adding pinstripes. This jersey sports Chicago on the front with pinstripes that we got in the 2019-2020 season, and I love it. I know some people aren't too fond of pinstripes on basketball jerseys, but I like them here. However, I wish the pinstripes were more prominent because they're hard to see sometimes. It is also worth noting in the 2020-2021 season, all statement jerseys gained the Air Jordan logo, this one included. Their city jersey for this year is underwhelming and frankly pales in comparison, and not just to the peak that was the 2021-2022 city jersey. You've got a black jersey with Chicago lazily on one side vertically with the number on the other side. I would have preferred having the actual logo in place of the city with them going this route. However, this is meant to reference the Bulls' old arena, Chicago Stadium, hence why Chicago is in the font that it is. I do dig it saying Madhouse on Madison above the jock tag to reference Chicago Stadium's nickname and even the United Center today, but perhaps that should have been across the front, I would have hoped to have seen something more creative to reference such an iconic venue. It also amazes me how the Bulls can't have a jersey that says Chi-Town on the front, but the Sky do. Seriously, what's up with that? Even despite the lazy city jersey, the Bulls are without a doubt a classic. Detroit Pistons. After the backlash of the 1996 rebrand with the horse, the Pistons went back to basics in 2001 by taking their pre-1996 jerseys and modernizing them. And by modernizing, mostly using a round text for the names and numbers instead of a traditional block text. While it's been tweaked since, it mostly remains the same. I do dig how their white association still says Pistons while their blue icon says Detroit, even though, like mentioned earlier, teams typically don't wear white at home anymore. After the boring gray statement jersey from 2017 to 2022, the Pistons brought in this black statement jersey with the intention of bridging the team's past and future. And that's not just some crap I made up, the team actually said that. Not gonna lie, but when I look at this, the font and stripe combo reminds me of the New Jersey Transit logo. It could be better, and if I'm honest, maybe have this be red instead of black for black's sake. Now, after last year's city jersey referenced a famous Detroit gym after many city jerseys that look too similar to each other and even other Pistons jerseys have passed, what direction did the Pistons take? Well, reference the Bad Boy Pistons from 88 to 90, of course. That's pretty neat, and at least this one being black makes sense since those old shirts with bad boys on them were typically black themselves. It's definitely a nice and creative jersey. Overall, the Pistons are definitely a classic. Milwaukee Bucks. After a uniform change in 2015, the Bucks were ready to embrace a new identity that's proven to be very popular, mostly attributed to Giannis and the team's recent success. And I'm not gonna lie, I can see why. The white association is a nice clean look with the team name on it, while the green icon is also clean with the city on the front instead. Their current black statement came into their lineup in 2022, and after variations of the logo on black jerseys, this is more of my style, frankly. It is based on the 2020 to 2021 Earned Edition jersey, except it's black instead of green. I dig how this replaces the side stripes with antlers to help this have its own flavor. This year's city jersey once again is blue, much to the chagrin of many Bucks fans. Seeing the arch at first made me think of the Hawks, but actually it's a reference to Fiserv Forum's architecture, and the blue references Lake Michigan, though the speckles represent the crowd that attended the Bucks 2021 championship parade. It's neat and unique in my eyes. If it wasn't obvious, I think the Bucks are a good redesign. Indiana Pacers. Up until 2005, the Pacers looked stellar, especially with both 90s jerseys being made popular by the likes of Reggie Miller and Jermaine O'Neal, among others. Their 2005 redesign was okay and clean, but a bit bland by comparison. Then we get to their 2017 redesign, and I feel they lost the plot. Whether it's the white association or the navy blue icon, I'm not a fan of having the team name in a circle around the number. It manages to look more plain than the previous look, which was generic at best. Call me a traditionalist, but I prefer to have just the city, or state in this case, or team name on the front instead of something that more so tries and fails to mimic an old school looking hockey logo. Now their yellow statement jersey. It makes me happy and sad. I'm happy because it looks good, but man, should this style be on the other two jerseys. Have this, maybe even bring back the pinstripes, something more like this alternate, perhaps even something like their 20 to 2021 City and Earned Edition jerseys. Speaking of city jersey, it's inspired by Indianapolis street art due to the spray paint effects and how Indy is written across the front, as well as replacing the team's traditional navy blue with a teal blue. I guess it looks okay, but it gives off the impression that this was created by a child. I know the Mavs did the street art thing a few years ago, but people thought it looked silly there too. Yeah, I think the Pacers need a redesign. Cleveland Cavaliers. Last season, the Cavs tweaked their uniforms that were introduced in the 2017 to 2018 season. The first Nike redesign I think was more interesting than the later years of the Adidas era, but what about this new one? Their white association looks a little plain compared to the previous version due to the lack of yellow outlining and less wine red. However, I do dig seeing the V and Cavs resembling the net. The same story goes for the wine red icon. It looks okay, but again, it's just a solid block of color with nothing to break it up compared to the previous version. Finally, their black statement is just a block of black! Okay, the yellow around the C is gold now, and the number is both smaller and in gold too, but that's it! It feels like they cheaped out and couldn't afford having all the other colors on the jerseys. I will say that unlike many other black for black's sake jerseys, I get why the Cavs have theirs since they were wearing black the day they broke the curse in 2016. Now, does this year's city jersey do anything to wow me? me? Well, we've got the third Cavs City jersey to have the land across the front, and oddly reminds me of some past Christmas jerseys. It's apparently based off the carpet at Connor's Palace. I guess if the Blazers can base a city jersey off the Portland Airport's teal carpet, I guess anything is possible. But if I could just make a suggestion, why not reference rock and roll? I mean, it's not like Cleveland has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or anything. I'm not feeling any of this. Cleveland is so meh. I probably sound like Joakim Noah saying that. New York Knicks. With the exception of a few brief years in the 80s, the Knicks have essentially had the same look since the late 60s. The white association is the kind of uniform you probably think of when it comes to straightforward, clean looks. The same goes for their blue icon, though I wish one of them had Knicks across the front as opposed to New York. But that's tradition, I guess, even if I don't agree with it. Them and the Yankees. Then there's the navy blue statement, putting me in mind of the Bears 1940s throwbacks and the Oilers' current alternate. Again, they could have easily had this one say Knicks, but they didn't do that. It is pretty striking and unique for the team, and I love it. For their city jersey, it honestly looks like their regular blue jersey. You know, after the first handful of years where the Knicks honored the New York Fire Department, referenced past looks, and even 2020 City Never Sleeps city jerseys, the last few years have been lazy by comparison and resemble pre-existing jerseys in their lineup, and this one is no exception. It looks like they were making the blue jersey at the factory, but the machine screwed up, leaving New York on the front first in orange and then white on top with pinstripes added. Maybe a mistake by Fanatics inspired it. The Knicks are lucky that their main two jerseys are forever because they're still a classic regardless. Boston Celtics. The Celtics white association has stayed practically the same since the beginning, whether it's Russell, Bird, Pierce, or Tatum wearing it. Their green icon had a minor change in 2014 to saying Boston on the front instead of Celtics, a change that I don't care for, but the jersey still looks good regardless. I don't know, I think generally on basketball jerseys, unless it's college, I prefer the team name unless it's an alternate, but that's just me. Since 2017, the Celtics have had this black statement, and man is it stunning. So many jerseys that are black for the sake of black have looked like crap to me, but this shade of green goes perfectly with black. There was a minor tweak last year where the green stripe along the side was removed, but it's a detail that I doubt you'll immediately notice. Their city jersey is unique in that it's a reference to James Naismith, the man who invented basketball. This is reflected in the font used on the jersey and the side panels mimicking a wood court. And of course, to emphasize the old timeliness even more, it's in cream. Overall, like I said at the beginning, the Celtics are an absolute classic. Toronto Raptors. After Toronto won the finals and broke Canada's championship drought in 2019, they decided to change their uniforms in 2020 based off their first two city jerseys and the earned edition jersey they wore the year they won it all while debuting it all in Tampa nonetheless. By the way, does Tampa Bay Raptors sound like a forgotten ABA team to anyone else, or is it just me? As for the styling, well, the white association is pretty clean, and I do like the addition of red to help break things up in comparison to what they previously wore, though I think I prefer the team name curving around the number rather than being within an arrow pointing up. It's a little odd, but it's also growing on me simultaneously. Yeah, I know, we the North, because that's where the arrow is pointing, but it's still kind of odd. However, having a stripe going around only one leg is just wrong, but if it was on both legs, it resembles a safety harness on, so I guess it's fine? I don't know. I do like the red icon jersey at least. I think having the main color as red and the arrow be black benefits this style over all white with a red arrow. Still only has one leg with a line going around it. Their black statement jersey is the only one without an arrow, but the team name is still situated as if it's inside one. I think this one is the best of the main three in my eyes, on top of having regular shorts without any asymmetry going on like the other two uniforms. Their city jersey for this year tries to evoke jersey drip, as in being fashionable while wearing an old jersey. So basically what I do every day. It is also all gold, whereas city jerseys of Toronto past have featured gold, and it features the styling of their 2015 to 2020 jerseys, which they were wearing when they won it all. Unfortunately, it's fool's gold, which means the whole thing is Dijon mustard yellow. Yuck. I'm amazed none of their city jerseys have ever used purple like how they used to be. Their most recent purple jersey was their 2020 to 2021 Earned Edition jersey. Maybe they're still petrified by all the Barney the Dinosaur comparisons that were made towards them when they were purple. It honestly wouldn't shock me. Too bad the Raptors' overall score is meh. This is a uniform tweak that simply did not need to happen. Brooklyn Nets. You know, I like the Nets jerseys in their last days in New Jersey, but when they moved to Brooklyn, I get it. The team wanted to make a new identity in Brooklyn to get people to care, and black is a stunning color, but man is this boring! Whether it's the white association or black icon, it just plainly says Brooklyn across, both in a boring text font. They look more like prototypes rather than the finished product. It utterly amazes me how this design is still here over a decade later, which is a shame because their previous uniforms in New Jersey were much more colorful. Their black statement surprisingly says Nets on it, but it's just outlined in white with black text. This is giving me Players Weekend 2019 vibes, or even something off of a t-shirt. It's frankly a downgrade compared to the previous gray statement with the Brooklyn abbreviation written in a street art font. At least that was more interesting. For this year's city jersey, they've collaborated with a local street artist known as Cause to make what is the most colorful jersey of the four they've got this year. That being said, it looks like it was inspired by the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air more than anything. Frankly, in my eyes, the Nets need a redesign. Philadelphia 76ers. When Adidas first debuted new uniforms for the Sixers in 2009, it was back to form for the team after the beautiful black and red jerseys that Allen Iverson made famous, but they were simultaneously boring. Well, once the license switched to Nike, they did a refresh in an attempt to spruce up this uniform lineup. Did they succeed? Well, I like how there's multiple color layers to Philly across the front of both the white association and blue icon jerseys, rather than plain block blue or white text like it's a practice jersey. I love how they've kept a third red jersey, and this red statement is no exception. Personally, I wish it still said Sixers across the front, but at least the font is nice to look at. If I could make an addition, it would be to bring back the AI jerseys as a classic jersey. Come on, Philly, it's such an iconic look. Now, much like they've had city jerseys that finally spelled out Philadelphia across the front, this year's has Philly's nicked the city of brotherly love, with touches inspired by Reading Terminal Market, a historic farmers market held in Philadelphia. The font may be a little small, but I guess that was the only way they'd be able to fit this onto the front. In all honesty, Nike made the Adidas redesign better, and thus the Sixers are a good redesign. Washington Wizards. When Washington changed their name from the Bullets to the Wizards in 1997, new uniforms came along with the change. So how do you follow it up? Well, by going back to the Bullets design. Maybe the Red Manders should take some pointers from them. Introduced in 2011, they're definitely unique and stand out from the Sixers despite both teams sharing an identical color scheme. The white association had its numbers gained white outlining in 2017 when Nike took over, and the styling has grown on me. It would make sense that the team in the country's capital would sport the colors of the American flag, and they certainly have red, white, and blue on full display here. Yeah, the stripes are odd, but again, they were finding a way to separate themselves from Philadelphia. The red icon is my favorite of the main jerseys, and just like Milwaukee, this jersey sports the city name, whereas the association jersey sports the team name. Their navy blue statement has been tweaked over the years, but currently it says the District of Columbia. It says the District of Columbia after it originally said Wizards. I think I could have stopped at just saying the district, but whatever, it's another solid one. And finally, the city jersey. It's black and dark gray and still says District of Columbia on it with some green and bronze on it, which at first I thought referenced the various statues around DC. No, this references the fencing around the boundary stones in DC, not the stones themselves, the fences that surround them. At least the font is in a nice 1700s font to reference the founding of our country, with the 3 stars on the right side a la the DC flag, but fencing? Really? I'd rather they have referenced the stones themselves. Such a strange decision. Overall, despite some oddball retro touches, the Wizards are a good redesign. Miami Heat. Last year's improbable runner-up, the Heat frankly have one of the best looks in the league, I'd argue. Can you believe this design first debuted in 2001? Me neither. Anyways, their white association is a beautiful clean look that is just perfect, and the black icon is equally beautiful. I do miss when the black jersey said Heat on the front instead of Miami, but that's mostly due to me owning a black Heat jersey. Comparatively, the red statement has always had Miami on the front and remains beautiful. Now, let's start scratching our heads with this year's city jersey. After exhausting references to Miami Vice and even the ABA's Miami Floridians, they went with a phrase that they use called heat culture. Why culture and the numbers are in a traditional non-matching block font is beyond me. The side trim also has motivational buzzwords running up, which I guess is a nice Easter egg. This was one of the first city jerseys leaked for this year, and I thought it'd grow on me. It hasn't. I guess what would have made this more interesting was if it was styled like their old white hot jerseys from back in the day, at least to have some differentiation in their uniform lineup. Regardless of that strange idea, the Heat are a modern classic. Orlando Magic. This jersey first arrived back in 2008 when Orlando wanted to bring back the pinstripes after the comparatively bland 2003 to 2008 look. In that time since 2008, the white association is the only one to remain the same, and while I don't mind a font change to spice things up, it's still a nice clean look. The icon jersey since 2019 has been black with pinstripes after alternating as the statement, though the pinstripes are more subtle than past black jerseys for Orlando. It's still very clean like the association jersey. Finally, the blue statement that they finally got right again last year after it had its pinstripes omitted from 2019 to 2022. It's a nice return that we needed, plus it matches well with the other two jerseys we went over. New for this year, their classic jersey, based on their blue road jersey from 1998 to 2003. Since they already brought back the Shaq era blue jersey before, it made sense to throw back to this era too. Always loved how this version had stars in the background to go with the whole Magic theme. Now the city jersey. I dig that we're using navy blue here, as earlier pictures made it appear black instead. Trying to remake the 90s look by having the city name in their current font while replacing the A with a star actually worked better than I thought it would. I especially like the zigzag lines running up the side of the jersey as well. Overall, this one is tricky to rank because I feel this design is too young to be a classic, so decent overall. I don't think I'd mind a redesign in the near future, especially if it featured more prominent pinstripes. Charlotte Hornets. Well, Michael Jordan no longer has a majority ownership of you after one last FU in this past draft. Too bad in 2014, after getting the Hornets name back and making a deal with New Orleans as to who gets which parts of the team history, you gave us some pretty bland jerseys at first. What's a Charlotte Bobcats? Well, thank God in 2020, the Hornets decided to take some retro cues and drum up some interest for once. Their white association looks phenomenal, and I like how they put Charlotte on this. The same can be said about their teal icon, sporting Hornets, because I'm sure the home crowd wants to see LaMelo rocking the team's name. The purple statement is bland compared to the other two jerseys due to lack of pinstripes, though I dig the comb design running up the side. New for this year, their 1988 to 1997 road jersey was brought back as their classic jersey after it was their classic jersey for the 2017 to 2018 season. It is beautiful, and I hope it stays in their uniform lineup for years to come. Now, after last year's city jersey sported Charlotte's frankly inappropriate airport code, we've got Buzz City back on the front, which references Charlotte's nickname and why the team is named the Hornets to begin with. Wonder if they'll have a city jersey with Hornets nest on the front for one of their other nicknames. The shade of teal used references how Charlotte is home to the first US branch mint with gold highlights, calling back to the Carolina Gold Rush. Yeah, not just San Francisco. This is a beautiful jersey in my eyes. Love it. No doubt about it, the Hornets are a good redesign. Atlanta Hawks. Possibly inspired by their former Omni Coliseum roommate, the Calgary Flames, the Hawks brought back their classic red and yellow in 2020 look after the controversial carbon fiber redesign of 2015. Okay, this look is more so inspired than a straight rehash. Specifically, this is based off their 1973 to 1982 looks with a hint of the 94-95 alternate thrown in. I find it odd that unlike those 70s jerseys, the white association says Atlanta across the front instead of Hawks. However, I still love the color combination, and it completely succeeds with the red icon, which is absolutely beautiful. If you're a jersey collector, then I think this is the one to have in your collection. Their black statement is the only jersey that says Hawks, and it's also where I think the pinch of the mid-90s comes from, and probably why it says Hawks on it too. It is stunning, and the yellow and red highlights just pop against the black background. Their city jersey sports Atlanta's airport code in lowercase letters. It's all black with light blue highlights meant to reference the city of Atlanta's history history of lifting up the individuals and providing the opportunity to soar while celebrating the power of collaboration and collective growth in achieving status. Sure. It's also similar to their Peachtree City jersey, though I'd say the Peachtree jersey is the superior jersey of the two, but still neat regardless. Is it a shock that I think the Hawks are a good redesign? Memphis Grizzlies. Well, here's a topic I've previously covered. I made it known in every NBA team's worst uniform that I am not a fan of the Grizzlies' current jerseys because I think they're bland. Has my opinion changed? Nope. The previous look wasn't bad and was anything but exciting, as the Grizzlies changed their color scheme to blue and yellow after maintaining the color scheme of teal, black, and red that carried over from Vancouver in their first handful of years in Memphis. The white association always looked like a generic sample of a jersey instead of the real deal. How can people get around this? The navy blue icon at least features 2 shades of blue and is slightly better. They did at least get it right to have the white jersey feature the city name, since they're likely to wear that mostly on the road. The baby blue statement is the best of the main 3, as this version debuted last year, having the team name formatted in a similar manner to their original jerseys from the Vancouver days, with hints of yellow as well. There's also one quirk about all 3 of these jerseys that makes them unique, and that's having the last names underneath the numbers as opposed to above the number like everyone else does. It's interesting, I suppose, but I could care less. This year's city jersey is unique, but there could have been more done with it. That's supposed to be Memphis's airport code, MEM, but you wouldn't think that without me telling you. Apparently this is a logo that's been featured on the waistbands of their shorts, not that you know that offhand. It's a neat idea, but just black with gold numbers and white letters? I know last year's city jersey was black with gold highlights, but there was more going on with that one. I feel they could have added teal and red highlights maybe, much like their old black jerseys from back in the day. I think it would have spiced them up a bit. Apparently the team says this is meant to represent the joy of growing up playing basketball, but God only knows what kind of joy you could possibly squeeze out of this jersey, or frankly Memphis's lineup in general. Overall, with how bland the Grizzlies jerseys are, I wouldn't mind another redesign. New Orleans Pelicans. In 2013, the New Orleans Hornets changed their name to the Pelicans to have a more geographically fitting name, and the very next year made a deal with the Charlotte Bobcats to where New Orleans was retconned into an expansion team for 2002, and returning the Hornets name back to Charlotte, similar to the retconning of the Ravens and Browns during the late 90s. With that bit of history, the rebrand introduced in 2013 has remained mostly the same, but has had some tweaks here and there. The white association and the navy blue icon have remained untouched since their inception in 2013. They're both decent, even if a part of me yearns for one of them to have Pelicans on the front. Must have been taking the Knicks approach. The red statement used to say Pelicans, but it's been changed this year to Crescent City, a New Orleans nickname. I guess it's neat that they decided to go with that nickname instead of going for the Big Easy. I do wish it still said Pelicans, but they have to keep things fresh somehow. Their city jersey this year looks inspired by the Dallas Stars' current black jersey. It has the familiar NOLA across the front that's been seen on many Hornets and Pelicans alternates over the years, and is voodoo inspired, calling back to the black magic supposedly infused into New Orleans. I think it could also represent glow sticks at a rave, but that's just me. Overall, I'd say the Pelicans were a good redesign, coming off of being the Cajun Hornets. San Antonio Spurs. Ever since introducing their current style in the 89-90 season, the Spurs have been consistent and frankly the best team in the NBA to don black and white. Take notes, Nets. I cannot say anything bad about their white association or their black icon because they're basically perfect. It just flows perfectly together, even with the U resembling the namesake. Now, thankfully, they got rid of their boring gray statement in 2022, and the new black statement is interesting to say the least. Normally, I'd say it's redundant to have 2 black jerseys, but I feel this one does enough to stand out. They've got SATX, SATX, whatever, on the front for San Antonio, Texas. The Spurs coming off of the X, which is definitely new for a Spurs jersey, and you've got a nice southwest pattern running up the side of the jersey. I at first thought their city jersey having orange was a reference to the Longhorns, but instead references the 55th anniversary of the 1968 World's Fair, which was held in San Antonio. It's pretty cool and is a nice change for the team after going through camo and teal in the last city jerseys. Was there any question about it? The Spurs are a classic. Houston Rockets. The Rockets redesigned their uniform lineup for the 2019-2020 season, so how'd they do? Well, the impression I have is that they tried to clean up their previous look originally introduced in the 03-04 season. But much like the Cavs' recent quote-unquote redesign, the Rockets' new look doesn't differ that much from what came before. The font used is chunkier and less stylized, whether it's the white association or the red icon. We've also replaced the downward arrows running on the side with blocks of color on both jerseys. They're not bad, but I don't care all that much. The black statement remains unchanged as if it was originally made to test whether or not fans would accept a redesign. It has gained red along the sleeves to help break up the black at least. This year's city jersey kind of reminds me of the Bulls' first city jersey for some reason. However, it's meant to pay tribute to Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler, indicated by their signatures above the jock tag. It's probably their most interesting jersey they've got right now. Shame the rest of the Rockets lineup is meh. Dallas Mavericks. I can't believe that this design has been around since the 01-02 season. I've always thought the white association was sleek and clean. The blue icon is as well, but I feel the white is the better look of the two. Their current navy blue statement was introduced last year after the previous one actually spelled out the team name, a rarity for the team after 2001. I dig that they're using multiple shades of blue, and it's decent, but certainly not the first Mavs jersey I'd grab. Their city jersey this year is meant to reference Leon Bridges, born in Atlanta but raised in Fort Worth. This is indicated by a signature above the jock tag. Even if I didn't know that bit of information, I think it looks like a pretty cool jersey due to the font they use. Overall, I think it's safe to say that like Miami, the Mavericks are a modern classic. Minnesota Timberwolves. The T-Wolves jerseys that debuted in the 96-97 season no doubt are what people think of when they hear the team name, definitely in part thanks to Kevin Garnett. It was tweaked in 2008 and still looked good, though they shortened the name on the jersey to just Wolves. And then in 2017, that KG style was officially gone. I cannot stand these uniforms. Whether it's the white association or navy blue icon, there is nothing going on with these. These suck more than wasting KG's career with you. These suck more than wasting Cat's current career. These suck more than trading everything under the sun to the Jazz for Rudy Gobert. I hate these jerseys. Their black statement at least is interesting with the addition of the bright green. The font also helps here as it's sharper than the standard font to mimic those old jerseys. Now onto their city jersey. This is actually neat as it's meant to reference how Minnesota is the land of 1,000 lakes, and it shows in this jersey. Makes you wonder why they didn't just name the team the Lake. Oh wait. In all seriousness, this looks like a good Bob Ross painting, even down to the happy trees. And finally, their classic jersey. It's meant to be their original home wipe. I gotta say, it looks clean and beautiful. It's too bad that the Timberwolves overall need a major redesign. Utah Jazz. Utah redesigned their uniforms last year as well as rebrand with a brand new color scheme that some people told me was worse than their 2006 to 2010 uniforms, which I felt were incredibly boring. So how do these hold up? Their white association just has the music note with a number on the left side. This feels like peak minimalism. The only other thing I can say is that I like the yellow on the trim as it breaks up the white, but this is really boring. It's based off their 2017 to 2022 yellow statement, and at least as an alternate, not only did you only see this every now and then, but the shade of yellow used there is more eye-catching and makes the jersey feel less boring than this white counterpart. Speaking of yellow, the yellow used has gotten brighter and the yellow icon has Jazz across the front with some gray stripes on the side, but this bright yellow makes it look like a reflective vest. Did it need to be this bright? No it didn't. Does the black statement save this lineup? Well, a black jersey with yellow letters and numbers make it sound like a jersey for Team Jamaica. Seriously, replace Utah with Jamaica. And surprise, there's nothing going on with this jersey, much like the other two. Absolutely ridiculous. Is there anything good in this uniform lineup? Well, after last year's classic jersey was their 90s jersey, their city jersey for this year is based on that same jersey with some differences, most notably replacing Jazz with Utah. It looks nice, but I miss the addition of teal. Otherwise, it's nice. Now, their classic jersey this year is based on their 74-81 road purple, and it is beautiful. And you know it's the pre-1984 look due to the lack of Utah above the team name. Too bad Utah's only good jerseys will be gone after this year, because overall they need another major overhaul. It's honestly pathetic. And yes, this is actually worse than that 2006 look I dislike too. Denver Nuggets, our current defending champs that helped complete the Stan Kroenke hat trick. This design was first introduced in the 2018-2019 season, putting an end for good for not just the 2000s baby blue, but that jersey styling in general. And how is it? Well, instead of going back to royal blue with rainbows on top, Denver opted to bring back their 93-03 color scheme, albeit with yellow instead of gold. So as a result, we've got some pretty solid modern updates. The white association is beautifully clean, and this navy blue icon is absolutely spectacular. The royal blue statement isn't terrible, and I like how it says Mile High City on it, but it puts me in mind of the Pacers' current duds, which no thank you. Of course, being the Mile High City, their black city jersey reflects this with 5,280 in front of their iconic mountains, referencing how many feet there are in a mile. It is odd how low 5,280 sits on the front, and as a result, the player number goes on top. I also think I would have preferred having rainbows on this jersey to give it some color, because it's pretty bland otherwise. Overall, despite the bland city jersey, the defending champs definitely have a good redesign. Oklahoma City Thunder. Ever since ripping the heart out of Seattle after failing to find a local buyer, the Thunder have been pretty consistent ever since dropping the Sonics name in 2008 with a slight retool to their main uniforms for the 2019-2020 season. The White Association used to say Thunder, but now has Oklahoma City on it because the Thunder know they'll be mostly wearing this on the road, vice versa for the royal blue icon. I'll admit that it is a bit jarring seeing the whole city names stacked on top of each other, and many people wish they would just abbreviate it to OKC, but I've never been too bothered by it personally. Sporting the team name is definitely the cleaner looking option. I do dig the colors used on the sleeves and collars of both jerseys, especially because you know a redesign would eliminate those colors and make it bland. And can I just say that I love their orange statement? This first appeared in 2015 and has appeared in one form or another in that time span before replacing the two-tone blue statement in 2019. It also does the one thing that none of their other jerseys do, and that's have Thunder on it. Oh, you don't see it? Look at the middle of OKC. It's a subtle touch and I dig it. Now with their city jersey, remember how I said the collar and sleeves have a bunch of colors going on? Well, they took those colors and put them on this jersey. This jersey isn't a solid black, as you can make out instances of the logo on it, and of course it also features the dark sunset orange and their shade of yellow that they use, which overall looks pretty good. I can see some further updates being made to the Thunder's uniform set, but they're still decent overall. Hopefully those potential updates don't make it bland looking. Also, I don't ever see them having a version of the Sonics jerseys being brought back as a classic jersey for them. Portland Trailblazers, the last Northwest-based NBA team after the Grizzlies and Sonics moved east. The Blazers have had this look since the 91-92 season, with some modifications being made over the years. The White Association retains having Blazers written in black after originally being introduced in the 02-03 season, and it is spectacular. And then on the black icon, it has sported Portland since 2006 after originally having Blazers until a break from 02 to 06. It is still a banger of a jersey that might make it worth having a team in Portland of all cities. Now the red statement. For years it was basically a red version of their regular jerseys in one form or another, but last year it changed. Now we've gotten their screen gems looking logo on the front with some horizontal stripes of varying thickness going along the side of it, and that's it. There is nothing else going on with this jersey besides that. I get it, gotta keep it fresh, but this is boring. The city jersey brings back Rip City in the Blazers classic font on a black background with the text colored in red plaid. That's pretty unique and is the most Northwest thing ever. Overall, the Blazers regardless are a classic. Sacramento Kings. Wait, they're 100 this year? I didn't realize that either. Anyways, after finally making the playoffs last year and passing the longest playoff drought to the Jets, the Kings decided new uniforms for this year were in order after the honestly bland look they had that came out in 2016. The pre-94 cursive font has made a comeback and it looks nice on the White Association and black icon. Just helps to make them look more distinct compared to previous blocky text used. Now, this statement jersey. I hesitate to assign a color because, well, look at it. It's the spiritual successor to their 94 to 97 alternate that was a third black and 2/3 purple, something that no doubt inspired Mitchell and Ness to make those half and half split colored jerseys for many teams. This has the entire team name in their previous font, and instead of there being a definitive divide between the two colors like the old jersey, there's a gradient in the middle to go from purple to black with a checkerboard pattern running along both sides. Yeah, I could do without this. I could imagine this being replaced by just a regular purple jersey somewhere down the road. This year's city jersey is meant to harken back to their time as the Cincinnati Royals, specifically from 67 to 71, with the name being placed vertically. It's pretty cool and unique for them, and a definite improvement over that boring gray city jersey they had last year. Yawn! That, and I always like seeing them bring back their pre-Sacramento color scheme of blue and red, with varying shades of blue of course, so despite an oddball statement jersey, the Kings are definitely a good redesign. Golden State Warriors. After taking a break from royal blue and yellow from 97 to 2010, the Warriors went back to basics and brought back their old color scheme with some retro-inspired jerseys. They brought back having a circle on the front and updated the Golden Gate Bridge look that they originally had from 66 to 71. Of course, the number placement on the front as well as the font is different, and it has the team name going around the circle instead of saying the city. That's something my dad always did. And I feel that unlike other attempts in the NBA to do a circle on the front, this is the most successful as there's more going on than just the number and team name. The white association is a fantastic clean look, with the blue icon being the jersey to get for fans, casuals, and bandwagoners alike. Now in the Nike era, they've gone through a couple of statement jerseys, and this current navy blue statement is the most basic the Warriors have looked since the 90s, and after the more bizarre designs they've had for alternates, it's on the boring side, and I don't see many people gravitating towards this jersey. But then again, if you want something less complex, this is the ticket. Their black city jersey is kind of funny, in a good way. We've got San Francisco on the front, but structured like the mini hills in San Fran, with all the lines running along the side referencing the city's cable car lines. Is it safe to say that I think the Warriors are a good redesign? Los Angeles Lakers. If there was any team where Nike's naming system did them injustice, it's the Lakers. Let me explain. If you know the Lakers, they wear yellow at home most of the time and only ever wear white at home on Sundays. And the Lakers wearing purple at home, in this case on Wednesday home games, just looks wrong. It's also kind of off-putting seeing them wear white on the road too. Rant aside, the Lakers came out with new uniforms in the 2018-2019 season, probably to welcome LeBron to LA. In addition, they brought in some classic elements from their pre-1999 look. The white association is clean, though I miss the yellow on the side from the pre-2018 look, but it's still good regardless. The yellow icon's most apparent change was changing the numbers back to purple to match the name on the front, like how it used to be from 78 to 99. Unlike the white jersey missing yellow on the side, I think this yellow jersey looks good even without the purple on the side. The purple statement I feel has suffered the most. At first the numbers were changed from white to yellow and the side was changed from yellow to black. Starting last year, the number was changed to black and I don't like it. It makes the jersey look gloomy and just not right. Call it nostalgia blindness or even the fact that the Lakers purple jersey only ever had white numbers, but I don't like what Nike has done to the purple jersey. Perhaps they should have just not had any color running up the side like they did with the white and yellow jerseys. Their city jersey has quite the story, so brace yourselves. The black signifies when they move to LA like every other schmuck who thinks they'll automatically make it big in Tinseltown. The way the team name is organized is meant to reference early basketball logos, and the number font harkens back to the Kobe era. Does it all come nicely together? Nope. It just comes off as LA wanting to do another black jersey. But whereas that black Mamba jersey paid tribute to Kobe, this comes off as black for black's sake. Also, everything being in an arrow puts me in mind of the Raptors jerseys, which no thank you. However, despite my gripes and objectively speaking, the Lakers are a good redesign. I just wish they'd stop ruining the purple jersey, and not just because I myself own one. Los Angeles Clippers. This is interesting because in 2015 to 2016, 2016, the Clippers got a redesign before Nike simplified the design in their first year. The white association is decent, and even the blue icon is decent, but you know what we could use more of? Red. Yeah, I'm surprised they've emphasized blue more than red in the Nike era. Last year, they replaced their frankly boring black statement jersey with a new black statement jersey based on their city jerseys from 2019 to 2021. It looks neat, and I love the font used to spell out Los Angeles. Their city jersey for this year is navy blue when, again, it could have been red, but the font spelling out Clips is the same font they used on their logo from 78 to 82 as the San Diego Clippers. Team moving from San Diego and LA, where have I seen that? Of their jersey lineup for this year, this is the coolest, followed by their statement jersey. I do overall think the Clippers need a redesign or at least a refresh, especially since they're going to have their own arena starting next season and won't have to share with the Lakers and Kings anymore. Phoenix Suns. For this year, the Suns have introduced a redesign based on their iconic 92 to 2000 look, and this was nice after some admittedly drab designs the team rolled out from 2013 to this past season. The white association finally looks good after so long, and this purple icon looks striking. I think it's having the white basketball that helps it stand out from past designs rather than a traditional orange ball. Their black statement is a carryover from last year with the collar and sleeves based on those 90s jerseys, with the colors beautifully transitioning from one to another. If I had to nitpick, the 2000s kid in me wants to see an orange alternate, but after the blandness of their last orange alternate, maybe it was best to retire it for now. This year's city jersey is based on their city jersey from 2020 to 2022, but says the Valley in Spanish, El Valle. There are some other differences, but still beautiful. It feels nice to close this video out with having the Suns as a good redesign. So finally, there it is. One day I'd like to do a video ranking city jerseys from 2017 up until last year, as most of those are different each year. I've been having trouble trying to map out how to accomplish it, but I think I found the answer. Otherwise, Nike's reign on the NBA has been interesting, but one thing's been for sure: appreciate traditional looks before it succumbs to oversimplification. So, go ahead and leave a comment, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later.